Voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak voices for the voiceless. Yeah, yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. All right, all right, all right. And we back. It's your boy Jay Taylor. And I got my sister in the building, blessed girl, voices for the voiceless, and peace of blessings, everybody. Peace of blessings. How you doing
Yes.
today, sis?
Hey, bro, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing, hey, feeling a whole lot better. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. That's good to hear, sis. Happy New Year's to you. We made it through 2025. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So we had
Thank the
New
Lord
Year's
for that.
Eve. Thank the
Yep.
Lord. It's a blessing for that. And man, 20 into 2025, and we live.
And we live all the way live, baby, cause hey, it's been forever since we did us live, Life been life a little bit with us, but hey, thank God we here today. So we
Oh
can we
yeah.
can yeah. End the year with a bang.
End the year with a bang. I know that's right. And man, I got a really good we got a really good show lined up. As the title says, yearly wrap up, final live show of 2025. We got to talk about that fraud in Minnesota and Happy New Year. Um, man, we went through we seen a lot in 2025. We covered the campaign extensively, with the president. We came in, we started our platform during the campaign, and and throughout the whole year, being a voice for, on majority of the politics of the situation. So, we was able to capture a lot of information that's on the record as far as, keeping the people updated. Man, I mean, from Trump getting in office, that was a dog fight to dodging, a nuclear bomb with
Mm-hmm.
Kamala Harris, and now we seeing what's going on with Tim Walsh. Man, just seeing the turnaround from mass deportation, from a wide open border to a border closed, to seeing that certain things as far as foreign relations, and Trump coming in, you know, trying to stop 8 wars and turning, the illegal immigration around, and seeing how the states is fighting them, and how heavy the left is going against what he's trying to do as far as prioritizing the citizens. I mean, this been a wild year. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a while, but it it just go to show you though, President Trump. everything that man ran on, and he hadn't even been in office a full year, and we seeing such a turnaround, within this the period of time that he's been in office. And I'm like, man, I mean, like you say, from the mass deportation to uncovering, like, a lot of this, the fraud, wasteful spending, uh, just, you know, down to him having the fight against these corrupt politicians on a state level, the governors, these blue states, these judges that's put in place that was, already designed to be in certain places to stop President Trump, and he's still been winning. He's still been winning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm really proud to say that, you know what I'm saying, that God really allowed President Trump and gave him that assignment, and he is fulfilling and doing everything that he promised the American people.
Yeah, he's doing everything that he said he was gonna do, and man, we seen a lot of people, step over from the left to the right, as we see, just now, even with the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I just did a video about that, the difference between the red states and the blue. You got some that are some blue states like the one that you're in, they not as bad as maybe like Illinois, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's some that are so progressive, so far left, that they are actually going against no tax on tips to give the American citizens some type of relief off what we've been going through as far as affordability. They create the affordability issue and then complain about
Mm-hmm.
it, then stop people from receiving any relief. Because if on the federal level, of Trump saying, "Hey, I'm not going to tax your overtime, I'm not going to tax your tips," why would the state then say, "Well, we going to tax it instead"?
Mm-hmm.
So
anything to go against anything that President Trump is doing and what he ran on, because you got a lot of people that's in those states that if the governor of that of the states, of those blue states, they now, well, we not going we not gonna pass that with no tax on tips. Half of the people don't really be in the politics, they don't know. So then it'll go back on, to anything to try to make Trump look bad. But Trump has done his part when it comes down to it. And it again, like we say, it's left up to a lot of these people in these blue states that he's having to fight against. Trump is wanting to help the American people. But I just hate, like me and you said before, I just hate this two-tier state and this federal type of system, because I feel like anytime the president passed something, it should be passed, in my opinion, it should override any governor. Do you understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
It should be able to, it shouldn't have to be voted upon. It shouldn't have to be the governor of the state that made the decision, because, if it's for the American people and it's going to benefit, everyone, I feel like that should be left up to the president. And even though President Trump been, having to fight a lot of these corrupt people in these different states, the governors and mayors and all these other people, he's still been able to hold his own and still been able to get some wins through the Supreme Court. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely. I'm grateful for that,
Absolutely. And we knew it wasn't going to be an overnight situation. It didn't take 11 or 12 months to get us in the predicament that we in. So it's not going to take 11 to 12 months to get us out of it. We in it for the long haul, and we supporting the president. I think it's imperative that we stipulate that, because a lot of people, they come in and they automatically they don't see the results immediately that they want to see. Now don't make no mistake, we're not where we want to be, but we're definitely, I've been seeing a lot of good signs that we're headed in the right direction. We can talk about gas prices coming down, which was a huge was a huge hindrance, for years. And we see that. So that's letting us know that drill baby drill is a policy that we needed to help, lower gas prices and energy and things of that nature. Grocery prices are coming down slowly but surely. Like I said, we just got to be a little bit more patient and give him some more time to do what he need to do. And he getting so much pushback from the left. It's like, man, it's hard to really. That's why midterms is coming around the corner, and we got to keep this content rolling to push the information out there. So, because if we lose midterms, it's gonna be that much harder. It take that much longer for us to get where we need to be.
Yep, and not to mention too, President Trump, the jobs that he's trying to bring back over here. And he's been doing a really good job at that. So, I'm grateful for what President Trump is doing. And like you said, he was handed an economy that was already in shambles. You know what I'm saying? When he stepped into that position. So, I mean, to know that he hasn't even been in there a year and he has gotten so much accomplished within that year. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be grateful for that. Every little bit, every little thing that he has done, and people have to understand too, a lot of the stuff he just can't get done. Like a lot of the things, it's been some blocks in the way with him trying to get certain things passed and different things like that. So, to be honest with you, I think if it was a lot of things that didn't hinder him, Trump probably would have been able to do probably over 75% of the things within a year that he wanted to get done.
Yeah,
that he ran on.
Honestly. Yeah, they talk about no kings, but if he had the opportunity to actually do everything with impunity, then we would be farther along. Hey, what's up, brother Muse in the building?
Hey, brother Muse.
Evening, brother Crux and sister. Sorry, I'm going to miss it, but I just made it out here in Rosemont. Brother JT jazz set. I treated myself to 2 jazz set, one at 6 p.m. and one at 1:10. Hey man, you enjoy yourself, brother Muse. Yes indeed, yes indeed. Peace and blessings to you, brother. Enjoy it, enjoy. You deserve it. Yeah, man. Oh, brother Muse at that jazz set.
I know that's right, brother Muse. You enjoy yourself. Shoot, yes, you bring it in the New Year's. All right. I wish I was at me a jazz set right now.
I know that's right. But yeah, so and we got to look at the what we dodged. Like we talking about Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, with all this fraud. He was going to be the vice president. These people in one state is stealing billions of taxpayers' dollars while we sitting over here stressing about how we gonna file and regular things that the taxpaying citizens are concerned about, while they over there stealing billions, sending it back home to Somalia.
And just to think, like you said, this was the same man that they selected to be the VP. Now, the more we think about it, now when they say follow the money, I see exactly what they be saying when they say follow the money. Because you can't tell me that Tim Walz, the governor of the state of Minnesota, with the amount of fraud that these people have committed under his watch, and to know that he was going to be the vice president, we got to dig into this, bro. Let's get it.
Yeah, we got to dig into it. Yes, indeed. And before we do, I definitely want to go ahead and get the disclaimer out the way. We got some content for you guys, and don't want no smoke. So I'm going to read this copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing, nonprofit, educational, or use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, all right, we got that out the way. Now, let's go ahead before we get into what's going on with Tim Walsh, I want to recap 2025 in a video that I think does an excellent job of covering majority of what we've seen over the past 12 months in just 8 minutes. But we can stop it and pause it when we get to certain points at any moment to, dive in about what happened.
Okay, let's get it.
All right.
2025 was welcomed with a bang.
The golden age of America begins right now.
President Trump is the father of our movement.
Breaking news overnight, the social media app TikTok
went dark.
I want to thank President Trump for his commitment to work with us.
Users are migrating to a different video sharing platform.
Welcome to Red Note.
6 different wildfires in fire-ravaged LA.
It's believed some 12,000 homes and structures have burned to the ground.
Gesture some are comparing to
a Nazi salute.
This is an order creating and implementing the Department of Governmental.
Man, you remember them wildfires in California, though, sis? When I saw that, everything just went so fast, and how I just remember how, the Governor Gavin Newsom, something as simple as having the water come down from Canada, so that it'd be a water in the dang on fire hydrant, he wouldn't do. We had such a short attention span. We forget things like that. That's why I like recap videos like this, because President Trump was telling them, hey, bro, just loosen the valves down from Canada. I got the green light from Canada, so we had an extra water supply. And they just burnt LA all the way up for no reason, because, they didn't have enough water right there in California. Unbelievable.
Efficiency known as DOGE.
one of his targets.
The USAID, thousands of staff and contractors were fired.
The president has ordered
To end all federal diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, programs.
Elon Musk bids farewell to the White House today.
Doge is done.
The Jeffrey Epstein files
Were released last night.
Many of the documents were heavily redacted.
Houthi PC small group.
They were running a war plan on a messaging app and didn't even know who was invited into the conversation.
Houthis is short for who's these idiots running our government?
The deadliest plane crash in more than 2 decades in the U.S.
Claim the lives.
Wow, remember that plane crash in D.C., though?
Yeah.
On the top of the year? That was crazy.
That was crazy. It was.
Yeah.
Of over 24 athletes, coaches, and family members.
We cannot just let this break us.
Turn now to the Super Bowl halftime show. Kendrick Lamar will be the first solo hip-hop artist to headline.
Gaga set the world record
For the highest attended concert by a female artist.
2.5 million fans attended it.
Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny making history with his first ever residency.
Yeah, that whole situation with Bad Bunny was tripped out too. With him performing at the Super Bowl, a lot of people had different views about it. I'm like, man, let him perform. Why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's an American citizen. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States, and it was certain comments made that people didn't appreciate on both, for Pam Bondi, and I thought it was just like, man, what's the big deal? We done had so many different people from all over the world that weren't American citizens that performed at the Super Bowl, and they weren't speaking English. So what was the big deal? So that was something that was interesting.
Bad Bunny said you were lit.
Everybody was feeling it.
And the Oscar goes to
Long live independent film.
Sinners is topping the box office charts.
Have a wonderful last day.
A man charging at Ariana Grande as she walked a red carpet.
K-pop Demon Hunters, the movie, Netflix's most streamed movie of all time.
Wow.
People waiting on long lines for hours.
Trump telling Zelensky in a meeting.
You're gambling with World War III.
Hey, that was like the funniest interview ever. Hey, we got Donna Vimos Beatrice in the building. She say, "Good evening, everyone. What a year it's been. I'm telling you, it's been one heck of a year."
Yes, it have, Beatrice. Yes, one heck of a year. It's been.
Now, what can that whole meeting with Zelensky and Trump? What you remember about that though, sis?
I remember Zelensky coming in there looking like he done went by City Trends and got him an outfit to put on and come up in there like he finna run things because he's so used to coming to the White House up under the Biden administration and getting what he wanted and demanding and leaving, with his pockets full. But baby, not that day. Trump said, "I tell you one thing, what you can do is get you in that City Trend outfit and get up out of here. Cause you ain't coming up in here demanding nothing."
Hey, he got his act together, right? He got kicked out. He came back corrected next time, though, sis.
He sure did. Cause I say now, he got some. That go to show you how he felt that he was entitled. The entitlement that they've been giving this joker from Ukraine, and they done allowed the citizens to come up over here and get Social Security, and they get jobs, and then we started sending billions and billions of dollars over there to Ukraine, and he thought he was still on that type of time until Trump and JD Vance had to turn his behind right on back around. So did.
See if I get that picture back. Hold on. Yeah. He said you gambling with World War III. Hey, Zelensky up there with his outfit from Ross. He ain't even wear no suit.
He ain't wear no suit. No, went by Ross and got him something real quick.
Like, I'm gonna hop on this private jet, go over there to the White House, pick up this bag, come back to Ukraine and chill, Bro say, Vance, they like, no, sir.
Hey, that joker left having to borrow gas money to get back. Trump said, bet you won't be coming up over here. We're gonna show you. You won't be coming up over here thinking you finna run nothing. You might have ran them other.
You thought Joe Biden and Kamala was over here, huh?
You ran auto pen them, but you ain't auto pen.
Too funny.
That was funny, though. No, that was a good one, Joe.
That was a highlight of 2025.
It was the highlight of 2025.
And JD, the one thing I like about that, JD Vance stepped in and he really showed why he was Trump's VP pick, because he stood on business. You know what I'm saying? He checked Zelensky right there where he stood. You act up, that's what you get.
Yeah, wherever you show out at, that's why I get you at.
With World War III.
America's really scary right now.
Gilmar Abrego Garcia was deported to El Salvador, an administrative error.
Sending National Guard troops into Washington.
Rallies across the country opposing President Trump's agenda.
As part of Saturday's No Kings protest.
Gen Z protests erupting in pockets around the globe.
Now, they had all these protests going on, talking about no kings.
Exactly. Because, that go to show you, if a king was involved, them protests wouldn't even be happening.
Right. If it was a king, y'all wouldn't be able to protest to begin with.
Wouldn't even be able to protest to begin with. So, and they out there just showing out like that.
Yeah, now looking back, I know they feel crazy looking back at this. Like, what we out there for whole time? But in Minneapolis, they stealing billions of dollars. But you talk about no kings. It seemed like Tim Walz is the king of Minneapolis.
Thank you. Not only that, it seemed like them rogue judges is the king of getting things passed because we can't skip past that where they was flying up over there to El Salvador to go get them those illegals to bring them back to the United States.
They was flying to El Salvador trying to get illegal immigrants that have been proven to have been committed heinous crimes back to the United States.
And had them one that wait, he had got halfway up in the air, and the judge told him to turn the plane around and bring him back.
Yeah, judge put in an executive order to turn the plane around mid-air over the ocean.
Over the ocean.
Trump like, man, keep going.
You know, this what this man been up against since he been in office.
Exactly. So we can't have a short. We can't have short memory on this. You know, it's been a lot, and that's why I like this video, because it lets us remember some of the roads we had to cross to even get to where we at. And we got so far to go. You know.
Nepal has been upended by a youth quake.
At least 22 killed in anti-government protests on the streets of Madagascar.
Growing questions about what caused that catastrophic ship crash into the Brooklyn Bridge.
Astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore are back on Earth.
See, I'll be having to stop so much doing this video because they got the astronauts back home. Remember that?
Yep, sure did.
You know, shout out to Elon Musk. They got in there and did what the Biden-Harris administration couldn't do in 4 years. Just bring them people back from outer space. They out there just floating around, sliding on clouds, hanging on stars. Like, bring them people back.
Yeah, that's true. And then they didn't even give a man the recognition for that. You know, they still had something to say about that. I said, Lord, poor Trump can't win for losing.
It don't matter what that man do.
I feel super connected to love.
Free for the win and goal! Last night in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, he tore his Achilles.
The NBA champion resides in Oklahoma City. Coco has conquered the clay.
The Los Angeles Dodgers now celebrating back-to-back World Series titles.
Terry Rozier and Chauncey Billups have been arrested. This is an illegal gambling operation and sport.
Now, this was crazy. With Chauncey Billups and the NBA, they, got, arrested for the whole gambling thing with Chauncey Billups and them. That's crazy. And I think that investigation is still ongoing. Hey, I hope them brothers get from under that. I hope, I hate to see that because, gambling and all of that, that just seemed real petty like to me. But if they ain't hurting nobody, all this, y'all worried about Chauncey Billups and them gambling, but now we see what's going on in Minnesota.
You ain't lying. The way they been gambling with our lives, I'm talking about the United States, and y'all worried about Chauncey and them over there throwing a few dice and gambling on with some dogs and all that. Man, please.
Let them keep gambling and go get them people that's stealing all these billions of dollars in Minnesota.
I'm telling you, go get that Mohawk Brandon Johnson over there. Him too.
It's bigger fish to fry.
It sure is.
Sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years.
Congress passed the one big, beautiful bill to make America great again.
And he's signing the bill, the one big, beautiful bill.
This is Cheesecake Factory menu, Howard. This is for the lunch and after, okay? I'm getting bang bang tacos. Give me this.
They funny for this dude, right? I just had to stop that right quick to get a screenshot of that. That's too funny.
Markets plunging.
Hollywood is remembering Val Kilmer.
Legendary singer Ozzy Osbourne has died.
Gene Hackman and his wife and dog found dead in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Diane Keaton has died in California.
Hollywood director Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle are found dead in an apparent homicide.
Pope Francis has died.
Man, we did lose a lot of people in 2025. Rest in peace to everybody that we lost. Our condolences to all the families that were affected by loss. And it's been a heavy one as far as loss in 2025. That's for sure.
Yeah.
A day after meeting with JD Barnes.
Oh, I'm not. Elf? Head elf. Everyone wants iPhone 17.
I think we can say this is white smoke, and they have selected a pope.
Leonem Decimum Quartum.
This is stunning. It is an American Monsignor.
Sydney Sweeney has her jeans.
I think her ad is fantastic.
6'7" is dictionary.com's word of the year.
Now, that was crazy, too, because a lot of people got mad at that lady, Sydney Sweeney, because she said she got good genes and all that in her little ad commercial for Levi's. You know, and they was mad at Nicki Minaj, you know, because Sydney Sweeney, okay, she a white girl, blonde hair, blue eyes. And she said she got good genes, and a lot of people got offended by that. I was like, huh? Like, people brag about how beautiful they are all the time. Because she blonde hair with blue eyes, she can't embrace her beauty. And that's what Nicki Minaj was talking about, I believe, when she sat down with Erica Kirk. Like, why should she feel like she can't embrace her beauty? I'm a black woman. This is what Nicki Minaj said, and I can embrace my beauty just like she can embrace hers, and every other woman can embrace their beauty. So why should she have, you know, people forget? See how soon we forget. Now,
That's true.
You know,
yeah. Year.
6'7".
The CDC's advisory panel was completely overhauled by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
New numbers show the measles virus spreading like wildfire.
Acetaminophen.
An earthquake caused devastation in Mandalay and other cities.
A nighttime tornado in Arkansas Friday night. That was an EF4 tornado that caused a lot of damage in Diaz.
The catastrophic flooding killing at least 104 people in 6 counties.
I just remember holding him so he would get swept in the flood.
it was a lot of natural disasters in 2025, you know.
It was.
Yeah.
It sure was, Joe.
The Texas floods was at, you know.
South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. Yeah. And I remember, you know, Trump don't get a lot of credit for that. Even when he was on the campaign, he donated, before he got in office, donated $25 million of his own money to, you know, the people in North Carolina to help them rebuild.
And, you know, that was right around the time. It was election time, you know?
Yeah.
And they was trying to make it, you know, hard for those ones in that state to have to be able to go vote, you know?
Yeah.
And Elon made it happen. He provided internet service for them in the areas. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really crazy because they were saying that FEMA was instructed not to help the houses that said they were Trump supporters in that area. It's like, dog. I mean, I know, you know, it's that deep. You know, that's still when Biden and Kamala was still in office and it was election time. I was like, I mean, put set politics aside, man. We need to save lives, you know?
And remember, they had even went through the FEMA money, you know? Or they didn't even have, they wasn't able to, remember they were giving the citizens $750?
Oh, yeah,
because,
$750 for people that lost everything.
And you know, that was the emergency funding because remember it was what $750 million that is in the reserve, you know, and that's the money that they were trying to get President Trump to go into, you know, for the emergency to provide the citizens when they had the lockdown with the for the food stamps during the lockdown. and they were trying to get President Trump, if I'm not mistaken, that's the funding that they have reserved for certain things like that, you know, like for natural disasters and things of that nature. But they wanted him to go into that funding to basically give it to the American citizens during the shutdown for food stamps, which probably would have only lasted up to 2 weeks. So during Biden's term, they didn't even have enough funding to give the citizens that had pretty much lost their houses due to that storm.
Yeah. That's a shame. We pay into this system, for situations like that when they occur. And then when it happens, they don't have the money. That's why a lot of time people feel like, what's the purpose of even having insurance or, when disasters or anything, unfortunate happens, they don't have the funding. It's some type of excuse,
But then they require you and make you carry that, what they call homeowners insurance, and then you still got to pay a deductible,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has arrived in Beijing
as the Chinese President Xi Jinping is showing off his country's arsenal and military might to the world.
It's called DeepSeek.
NVIDIA
Down big.
President Trump just gave NVIDIA and AMD the green light to sell chips to China.
Hamas and Israel have reached a ceasefire
in Rafah.
Man, now Trump don't get no type of, kudos for anything, as far as foreign affairs is concerned. Him stopping the Hamas and Israel. Well, I know that there's still disturbances going on, but bringing all those hostages home should be commended, by all sides. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of which political side of the political spectrum that you land on, you should be able to acknowledge that at least. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
At least 31 Palestinians have been killed.
Those who are supposed to represent us are betraying all oppressed peoples of the world.
Famine has been declared in Gaza.
The Gaza famine.
The first images of those 20 Israeli hostages turned over.
Chaos and horror on a college campus.
Charlie Kirk was shot.
The alleged killer of Charlie Kirk reportedly confessing to the assassination.
Jimmy Kimmel Live
will be off the air, quote, indefinitely.
I absolutely have the right to
free speech.
Free speech?
It's so important to have a free press.
On my face. Why are you in my face? Why are you recording me?
Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted in one of President Trump's biggest grievances, the 2016 Russia investigation.
John Bolton has just been indicted.
Week one of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial coming to an end.
50 months in prison.
The whole Diddy situation was crazy. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that Charlie Kirk situation, that was, that was sad too, see that, just took place on national TV. And, it was so much geared, towards around his, his unaliving. So that was really a sad time, for me, because he was one of the ones that draw a lot of the young people in and voters, when it came down to voting for President Trump, So that was a pretty sad day.
It was terrible. And it really divided the country in two, because we saw a lot of people, for who they really were, regardless if you disagree with someone, you should never champion or celebrate someone's early demise. I mean, I think he was only 31 years old, and to be, basically assassinated in front of the world to see with 2 small children and a wife. That was just like, how could you?
That was devastating. Yeah, it was. It was.
Then you got the Epstein files over here. That's ongoing. 2025 was lit though.
It's been lit. I'm trying to tell you.
In the last few moments, further files relating to the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein have been released.
And they show powerful figures like President Trump, Trump advisor Steve Bannon, and former President Bill Clinton.
No more questions from you. Who else has a question?
Watching this actually turn into a fight has ripped MAGA apart.
I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
Japan's parliament has appointed the country's first female Prime Minister, Sanai Takachi.
It means that Japan's politics has taken a shift to the right.
I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
Zohran Mamdani, mayor of New York, he came in swinging, and then one thing I could say about Mamdani, he went down there and chopped it up with Trump, which was a smart move because, you know, a lot of these other Democratic mayors and governors, they want to go against the president for whatever reason that's on the left, to the point where, you know, they don't even accept the federal funding, or they jeopardize the federal funding, you know, for lack of better terms, just to, you know, go against. And it's like over something is bipartisan. Not so long ago, it was illegal immigration. Everybody was in favor of mass deportation not too long ago. But for some reason, everybody just, you know, against it now. He's like the modern day Adolf Hitler because he want to get people that don't belong here about the country, when, you know, former Democratic presidents like Barack Obama, you know, that's what they do. You know,
but my thing is, everybody's against him because he's following the law. I mean, it's the law, and again, that's why I say these people such hypocrites, because it wasn't a problem when Obama did it. It wasn't a problem when Bill Clinton did it. It wasn't a problem when Bush did it. But now that it's Trump, it's a problem. With, you know, everything that he do is a problem. But, you know, he getting them out, and then they weren't going over there flying to get them back when Obama was deporting them. You know, they weren't flying nowhere trying to get these people to come back up over him. But now, since Trump is, he's doing the very thing that they've done, you know, which is allowing these people, if they do come, they have to come the right way to, you know, seek asylum. And, you know, but it's a problem whenever he gets them gone. That's why I say, like, it's just the hypocrisy. Anything that Trump do is a problem. They can do it, but he can't.
Right. I think the mainstream media has finessed people to really believe that this man is a illegitimate president. Like, they do not honor his legitimacy as a president, because they question every move he make. I've never seen a president get questioned so much. You know what I'm saying?
And my thing is, he get questioned for making the right moves. Who questioned that?
For enforcing our immigration laws that been on the books since the beginning of time. You know, every country, every successful nation has border policy. That's just what it is. You know, you can't have a successful nation without it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
New York will be the light.
We will rise higher.
Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, Virginia's first woman governor.
The current government shutdown.
Man, see, they dived in. That was crazy right there with that lady in Virginia. But I want to get through this so we can get to Walls. But I thought this would be a good little, you know, opening for the live.
Yeah, it is, because it takes you back down memory lane, you know? So like you said, must we forget about the different things? And these clips just really give you, because it's been so much, you know? And so it's like, even now, you know, the things that you recapping on right now, like it you know, a lot of that stuff has slipped my mind because it's just been so much. It just seemed like every day is something, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
just going back and recapping on this, it just gives you like a refresh your memory on like how soon, we forget a lot of this stuff within, 11-month span, 12 months. Yeah.
Yeah, it is like a refresher, a reminder, so to speak. Like, man, we've seen a lot, And we was talking not too long ago, sis, about that. Like, man, it's only been a year, but it seemed like, man, this man, like, he been in office at least 3 years. The way he moved, how fast he moving,
How fast he been moving. And the thing about it, bro, he don't even really get no sleep. I mean, this man, for him to be his age and how he's been able to get so much accomplished in such a short period of time, and the fact that, people still moving off of racism and all this other stuff, and Trump studied, he studied moving. He studied going. Like, that ain't even that's dying down now. People ain't studying that no more. They just looking for change right now. And the fact that he's enforcing some of these laws that me and you have spoke on and talked about on a previous, in our previous lives before, men and women's sports, castrating of children and all this other stuff. He ran, and as soon as he got in office, he signed those laws into effect. So, everything that he has been doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been,
how
he
often
been
do we
moving.
see politicians actually do what they say they gonna
do exactly what they say. That's why I say I don't even understand why they even surprised about mass deportation. He said that when he got it out. He said that he's going to clean up this country. He's going to get down to the a lot of the corruption. He was going to send the illegals back to their countries. He was America first. He ran on that. And 77 million people voted for him because that's what 77 million people wanted for this country.
Exactly. How soon we forget.
That's true.
Down has now become the longest in U.S. history.
It's been about a month since the shutdown began.
More than 500,000 federal workers are missing their first full paycheck.
SNAP benefits and air travel operations are facing growing disruption.
Sudan's civil war has entered a new horrific phase.
40 million people have been displaced.
Sudanese cities have become battlegrounds.
Another U.S. strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat.
Here we go again.
Now the whole thing with the boats, a lot of people like feel a way about that too, But I mean, if these people bring a fentanyl, now I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest. I feel like this. Like, I've known so many people, family members, that have been affected. They're not here no more. Just of an overdose, seemingly due to fentanyl. And I know all of us know people that have been affected by this. Why wouldn't you want? Like, one thing about it, if people choose to get high, that's their choice. But that doesn't mean it should be a death sentence.
Thank you.
And if they choose to smoke a little green, or if they want to treat their nose or whatever, it shouldn't have to be laced with fentanyl. But if they bringing this stuff over here, and we telling them to stop bringing it over here, and we say, hey, if you bring it over here, I'm gonna blow you up, and you continue to do it, then what you expect a man to do? You know what I'm saying?
But you know what though? And this the thing right here. This ain't and man, we talked about this before. This whole thing with fentanyl, like, I think up under the Biden administration, it was over 300 and something thousand deaths, to fentanyl that died I want to say within that the up under that administration. And again, that's murder. I'm not even gonna sit here and say that those people overdosed, because that was straight up murder. You know, whether they was taking it and you know, lacing it in their weed or whatever. They didn't know they weren't gonna wake up. You know, they didn't, like you said, they didn't know it was gonna be a death sentence. But if you notice, since Trump has got in office, there, look at the amount of deaths when it come down to fentanyl. You rarely hear it. You rarely hear it because he's been cracking down on that stuff. He's been cracking down on it. And for anybody that sit there and say that Trump is wrong for blowing up, you know, taking down these big boats with fentanyl and all this other stuff in there, you know, you cannot like President Trump all you want, but you can't sit up here and say that you in agreement with them people bringing, you know,
deadly
drugs over here in the United States, you know. And again, remember, me and you, we looked at, remember we touched on this a couple of weeks ago, which we get to do another live. We'll kind of read over that. The young man, the man that was trafficking. Yeah. He was, you know, we're gonna have to touch on that too. But again, see, this has been going on for quite some time, and a lot of these politicians, that's why they're so mad with Trump, because Trump is cutting into this money. A lot of those different ones, these politicians and judges and all of them, that was part of they money. You understand? Like they was profiting off of the debts, because this was you talking about RICO. This was RICO. And Trump has put an end to their money. He's put an end to how they've been profiting off of the debts of American people. And you know, that's what it all boiled down to. So people, you know, they getting upset talking about he shouldn't be, you know, he should allow the boats to come in and all this other stuff. And President Trump is like, no, because he promised a lot of family members when he got in office, he would make sure that no other family have to go through what they had to go through with burying their children to fentanyl.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, what I mean, this man is the commander-in-chief. He got a job to do. You look at other presidents that took that oath seriously. That's what this man is. He's just a man that's serious about his job. He loves his country. And if young people in our, you know, let's just be honest about it. Young people experiment. And just because a young person experiment with a drug don't mean that they should be subjugated to a poison that wouldn't be here if the president didn't allow it to be here. If power to stop it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Yeah. I never had a problem with him doing what he was doing as far as that was concerned, especially how he gave them people fair warning several times.
And they still gonna push it. To say they gonna come up over here sneaking through boats and drones and all this other stuff, and it's like, you know,
they want
he ran on that, and he's fulfilling the things that he said. He not only promised he promised family members that had to bury their children because of this fentanyl and all of this other stuff. So everything that President Trump ran on, he is fulfilling it. That's why I don't understand why people so mad.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, majority of the country, that's what they wanted, and they getting what they wanted.
Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
All right.
And you know what else I wanted to touch on real quick, bro? Was I think the last video we did a live when it was pertaining to like the federal workers losing their jobs and different things of that nature, and how, you know, a lot of people was upset because, you know, he was going through and dismantling like a lot of jobs. And it was because of, when we go back to like the wasteful spending and how, you know, you had a lot of people that were you know, losing their jobs and different things like that. And I was saying, like, a lot of people don't understand how the America, like the United States, is no different from any other country, where it's literally like a business, like a corporation. So whenever you know, with all the wasteful spending, the fraud and all that other stuff, he had to go in and basically, you know, do like any business owner would do when they're trying to get their, you know, their business or their corporation to a place where, you know, you can get that corporation out of debt. And it probably did affect a lot of people with losing their jobs and different things of that nature. But, you know, he had to do what he had to do, because the things that he ran on, as far as like uncovering, like, you know, the wasteful spending and all that other stuff, he had to start from the top and cut, you know what I'm saying? He had to just get rid of a lot of different positions, you know, for people that was, you know, probably making $250,000 in as far as like in one position, where you paying this person $250,000 whenever, you know, we got 2 to 3 people that can really do, you know what I'm saying, like that one job. So he having to cut back on a lot of things. So a lot of people,
it's like any other corporation, you know.
Yeah, it's
you got to
like any
cut wasteful spending.
You cut wasteful spending, and it's not just President, you know, what President Trump is doing. He's just doing what a lot of the past administration was supposed to have been done. You know what I'm saying? They were supposed to go through and do audits and cut back, and because that's what America is built on. America is a big corporation. So then when you got this corporation and you got all this wasteful spending, and we studying debt, and the American people are having to suffer behind all of this debt, you got to go in and kind of just, you know, eliminate some things. You understand what I'm saying? And what President Trump did, he eliminated jobs, but a lot of them got service packages. You understand?
Oh, they got some great though. But let's not glance over that, because them people got great service packages. They
sure did.
They got their full pay and benefits for up to what, a year. Now, who can't? Now, I've been laid off several times, you know, from different various jobs. You know, if you give me a year or two worth of severance pay and full benefits to find another job, man, thank you.
Yeah,
I might take 2-3 months before I actually start looking for another job, because I'm getting paid. Like, that's a good deal. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is what is needed for the betterment of the country. You know, so them people wasn't just hung out to dry. Now, if you were a temporary employee, then you didn't get that. But if you were a full-time employee, 9 times out of 10, you got a year or two of severance with your full benefits, and also, you know, different opportunities to come back if they could use you, you know, because they did bring some of them people back. We can't forget that either.
Yeah, and a lot of them too, they give them their packages, and after a certain amount of time, because it's no different than what I've went through on my job when I worked at Verizon. Like, when they start eliminating positions, they'll offer you a service package. Okay, well, with that service package that they offer you, you know, after a certain amount of time, you can go and apply for unemployment. You can get back in school. You understand? Now, they give you a certain amount of time before you can do that, because they do give you a lump sum of a package up front. But that's why I keep saying it's no different than any other job. Like Walmart, you know, they might get bought out by somebody and they bring in their own crew and they start eliminating certain positions and jobs, and they do that because they have to cut back. It's for the betterment of that, you know, that company. So, you know, it was unfortunate, and I think President Trump lost a little support because of that. But, you know, a lot of people don't understand how and what, you know, when he was doing it, it did affect, because, you know, the good sometimes have to suffer for the bad. But he had to do what he had to do in order to get the country back in a position and get it back on track to, you know what I'm saying, to get us out of a lot of this debt. And one other thing I was going to touch on too, remember the visa packages where, you know, they had a lot of the different students from other countries to come over here, you know, and we would basically house them. They would, you know, be able to get free schooling and do all of that. Well, Trump, he said, you know, no more. You know, at this point, you know, if that takes place, you got to pay $100,000 to come over here a year, and I think it's like 85,000 applicants. And I'm like, dang, Trump is really smart, because when you get 85,000 applicants and $100,000, that's $8.5 billion that is coming back into the United States, you know? But before, it was nothing set up. Like, these people was coming and we were taking care of them, and they, you know, they come back, they learn, you know, for free.
They getting everything. They getting all the benefits from us.
Yes.
With nothing. We're not getting nothing in return.
And we're not getting anything in return. So I'm like, dang, that was pretty smart for Trump, because he like, no, that goes back into the United States and it helps stimulate the economy. Like, you know, so it's different things like that Trump is like, no more coming over here using the people of the United States. No. We got our own people up over here that we can allow to take care of and do for it. So if you coming up over here, you got to pay $100,000.
Mm-hmm. America first. I'm with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sis, and I'm happy. You know, we spent about an hour on recapping. You know, and I'm happy it stretched that long, recapping the 2025. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The whole, you know, year. And now we can get off into, you know, what's going on with this fraud in Minnesota.
Yeah,
right?
Let's get it.
Yeah, and I want to refresh, and it's still like a refresher here. What I want to start off with is actually Tim Walz himself in the vice president debate against J.D. Vance, when he was talking about, of all things, giving money to daycare centers, you know? So this is very interesting. So, yeah, he was actually talking about that in the vice president debate. And this would have been our vice president had Kamala Harris won. So let's recap this right quick.
As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business, and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state.
Whoa. This is, hey, I think we need to take that back a little bit, right?
Take it back a little bit.
We gotta take it back. We gotta hit the rewind a little bit, because this was what, a year ago?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, we got to get him more money, you know, and all this. And now we find out $1 billion in fraud in his state. Tampon Tim, tell us.
Tampon Tim, look at it with that head looking like a tampon. Look at it just like a tampon. This dude is off his rocket. That's what he's thinking himself.
All right, Tampon, tell us how you really feel.
There's childcare on this. You have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business, and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this.
JD looking like, yeah, we about to investigate you in a few months, bro.
Uh-huh.
We about to investigate you because you was able to do what in Minnesota?
Mm-hmm. And he up there talking like they had it going on too. Like they just really had it going on over there, you know. Oh wow, they got a whole doggone scheme of Somalians and him over there. They said they had Tampon Tim over there doing the Somalian dance.
Then he done turned the Minnesota flag into the Somalian flag. He gives so much money with the Somalians over there. He done turned the flag.
I told you they had made Minnesota. That was the Somalian country. That's it.
That's it.
American citizens was just there paying the taxes and taking care of the Somalians, and they was over there in Somalia.
Right. I mean, we can try to take this one down, but I just wanted to. I don't know. Maybe you think we should listen more? What he got to say on this one?
Listen to that tampon. Put him on up there.
All right.
We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, do you support a national paid leave program?
He was talking out.
Oh, my bad. I was muted. When we go back and recap what this dude actually said on the campaign and what's happening now, it's unbelievable. Like, it's just unbelievable. You talk about all this child care, all this money we need to get a child care, and you over there with billions of dollars, and you know that's been going on since 2014, and this was in 2024 when you was sitting up there talking. It's like, dude, if this don't infuriate you,
I'm telling you, if this don't make you mad right here, I'm telling you, like, if this ain't a whole nother, because they was even breaking down with just off of, I think it was a few $1 billion, how much each household in Minnesota had to suffer and was paying for it in this fraud. You know what I'm saying? How much it affected the citizens of Minnesota. It was like $1,500 per household or something like that. And that was just a few billion. Now they've gotten up to, they say, just the tip of the iceberg at $18-19 billion. And they still are doing their investigating when it come down to this. These people had doggone all these daycare centers and didn't have not one child there. It was just ridiculous. And the fact that people are saying, well, it shouldn't matter because, like everybody, like the fraud is fraud. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who's doing it. Fraud is fraud. People so focused, it's not right. I don't care if the white man doing it, the black man doing it, the orange man doing it. The fact of the matter is, it's fraud. And you got people that's in jail, probably serving 2 to 3 years for stealing a pack of gum out of the store. And these people over here committing all types of heinous crimes. And I'm talking about they bragging about their fraud. They bragging about how, the American citizens are taking care of them, and they getting bold with, and here we is out here robbing the Peter to pay Paul, and they out here stealing, left and right from the American citizens that pay into this country. Like, people should be furious.
We sitting here wondering why things are so hard and difficult for us, and why we struggling so much. But you got people over here that's not even supposed to be here that's stealing out the system. Until people understand that we live within a system that we pay into. That's how we able to acquire Social Security and 401k. And this is stuff that we work hard to pay into for American citizens. And then you get people come over here and take that money that we work hard for as Americans and by the billions and send it back to their country.
and they illegal, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of them are illegal. A lot of them are citizens here. But the fact of the matter is, like, we, you know, us as Americans, it's hard for us to even get a small loan. You understand what I'm saying? We have to go through so much red tape to get a loan to even, we gonna pay the loan back. You understand? And we can't even get a loan. We can't even get grants to start us a business if we wanted to, but they can come over here and get everything and still, and there's no consequences or repercussions behind it. And the fact, that's why I said with Tim Walz, there was a reason why they picked this man as a VP running mate. They knew this fraud. This type of fraud go deep, bro. It's not just with Tim Walz. It's a lot of other higher end politicians, people from other countries, and a lot of people connected. Ain't no way. $19 billion. And then they uncovering some of the fraud, in Gavin Newsom's state. You know?
Mm-hmm.
70
Ohio.
million.
They finally got Ohio. But my thing is the timing of this is odd. Like right before the end of the year, you know, they wanted this to come out, you know. So I believe that this is strategically done for it to come out when it's coming out. And then, you know, we're gonna get that a deeper offer to these people trying to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? They see the writing on the wall, you know, and you know, we talked about this earlier. You know, they get caught, they get sent back to their country. If we get caught, we go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
We go to jail and then have to pay, you know, a bond. You know, you have to pay a bond to get out. But yet it's still you holding the American people captive. You understand what I'm saying? In their own country, while you allowing other people from other countries illegally to come over here and destroy, steal, do whatever they want to do, and they get whatever they want.
If that's the case, everybody that's in jail need to get locked and get let out.
Let them out. Let them out.
Yeah. But it took one blogger, one young man, by the name, what's his name? Nick. He went out there to all the different daycare centers in Minnesota. It was one building that had 60 different daycare centers in it. What do you need with one location that got 60 different and ain't not one child in sight?
Not one child.
I'm gonna bring up a little clip right now to show what this young man had discovered. It's just it's unbelievable. Hold on, let me make this a little bigger because it's a small screen. Okay, here we go.
Now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center. Absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
2 million in 2 years. 5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now.
From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Learning Center.
Now, look at this. These people got a daycare center. They didn't even have the common decency to spell learning right. They got Learning Center. Quality Learning Center, supposed to be a daycare center for children. Somebody actually sat up there and made a sign for this daycare center, and they spelt it wrong. Notice, when you make a daycare center sign or any other sign or any other advertisement for a business, it has to go through so many different checks and balances. They didn't even notice that the dang on sign was spelled wrong. Learning was spelled wrong. Are you serious?
They were so sloppy with it, bro, until I seen it. I said, you know what? And for that to literally be, because let me tell you one thing. If that young man wouldn't have went out and did his work, you understand, and just make, because I think he got over 100 million views off of just him going within a weekend, just looking at this, because, you know, people, they was talking, but no, he actually went, and then there were businesses there that they said that was closed down, and then the next day they so happened to be open back up, you know, so that they wasn't running any businesses. They didn't have any, that business had been closed down, and then the next day it's running back up, you know, or the next week or so. And I'm like, you know,
and then the whole time, I think this is the same business that see, I didn't get that clip. I wish I had it, where a man called the number that was on the advertisement for the daycare center. When they called the number, it went directly to Tim Walz's office, the governor of Minnesota.
Lord have mercy.
Like, what the governor phone number got to do with a daycare center?
And you know what? Now it makes sense. Like when you went back and you did that recap of him with JD Vance, and he talking about, you know, we got to pour back into the daycare centers. And I'm telling you, Tim knew about all this fraudulent stuff. You understand? He knew then. He knew then. He knew about it. That's what he was kind of running off of. And now it all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense now.
And I went back because I wanted to hear the debate, and that stuck out to me. You know, and I'm like, you know, what's going on now, and to think that this guy would be the vice president of the country. And we seen what Kamala did as the vice president. She was over the border, and we saw what tragedy we dealing with now. See, Trump got to do so much energy to clean up what happened during the past 4 years. That when Trump left office, everything was in order, everything was intact. But he has to go back and correct so much corruption that is taken away from what advancement we could be experiencing, you know?
And I think when that man got in office, like, he did not realize it was this bad. I don't think he even had a clue that these people really had messed this country up like that. That's why you notice when he got in office, you know, Trump, he been kind of calling out, you know, he was calling out the deep state and all this other stuff. And me and you, Jeff, for about a year and a half, you know, when we was talking, and I'm like, you know, bro, I see a difference in this country. Like this is just like, it's like we're in somebody else's country. It's like we on vacation wanting to go back home to our country. You understand what I'm saying? This is our reality right now. And it's like, so I don't know who it is that's running this country, but I have an idea of who running things in this country now. And I'd be doggone if when Trump stepped in, all of this stuff that this man has been uncovering, I'm telling you, a lot of these mayors and governors and different people, these politicians, a lot of them, in my opinion, they act like their life is on the line with a lot of even the decisions and different things that they make, because a lot of this stuff, it just don't make sense. You know, the judges and different ones that's going up against the things that President Trump is doing. So now it makes sense with all of this fraud and corruption and all this other stuff that, you know, we're actually, Trump is uncovering. We see that it's been some really powerful people that has been running things, you know, and it's all connected. When they say follow the money, it's so much. It ain't just Minnesota. Minnesota, I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. You wait till they start doing Chicago, and they start going into a lot of these other deep states. You wait till they go in California. This ain't nothing. This is nothing. Minnesota just been called out because Nick, that dude that has came out, and he did and see, you know what he started doing? They started looking up how much these people was grossing per year. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why he was like, so you made $5 point something million this daycare. They even had a daycare center that was at a residence that they was claiming, but it wasn't even no children going in and out of the residence. So they was setting up shop you know what I'm saying, using these locations with these LLCs, and they were just frauding.
Just fraud.
Yeah.
And it's easy when you think about it, you know. And people, the first thing people want to do is scream racism when they get caught.
That's it.
You know, and that's a distraction. You know, in 2025, we done with the race bait, you know.
That's it.
You know, as far as Somalian, we ain't got nothing against Somalians. No, it just so happened.
We got something against the fraud, okay? I don't
care.
Right.
It just so happened that
I don't care
Somalians
who you is. Exactly.
are involved with this fraud. And when you trace it back to Somalia. So miss me with the race bait. We not dealing with that. That's surface level thought process. We talking about people that have destabilized the help, not only help destabilize the American economy. You know, where people pay into this system, and people complain all the time about how much taxes coming out. This is why so much taxes coming out your check. First, you have to pay for the taxes that they stealing. Then you have to pay for the corruption to correct the stealing, to balance the budget. I mean, people just don't have a healthy understanding of how the system operates.
Right. Yep.
You know,
that's true, Joe.
And I think once we get to that point, we'll understand it. But I commend this young man, Nick Shirley is his name. These people got Quality Learning Center. It's supposed to be Learning Center. And if you call the number, you might, Tim Walls might pick up.
On the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Learning Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelled.
Now this white lady for the pull up, looking like she from Somalia with the whole thing over here and everything. She looked like she a Somalian, a white Somali.
Learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally.
Look at her. Like,
but my thing is, don't open up. Why don't they have to open up? If it's a daycare center and you go and you want to enroll your child in the daycare center, you understand what I'm saying? And she out there hollering about, don't open up. I mean, and I'm saying this stuff is recorded for the world to see.
Daycare center, you should be open to the public.
Thank you. Now there is steps wherever, when you go in a daycare center, they have to, a lot of times they have like for security purposes, different things of that nature. When you go, you might be behind a glass, but they don't have anything. You understand? It's just a door. And I mean, how do parents even, are they able to enroll? Okay, if they enroll online, what if he's a parent there, or he needed to enroll his child or to pick up a child? But again, all of this is just for the American people to see the fraud that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad this young man did this. I'm serious.
Yeah,
I am.
It took a young YouTuber, Nick Shirley is his name, to go out here and put in the legwork to expose. I'm guessing what the federal government couldn't expose just in a simple, YouTube channel. It's crazy.
Literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up! We have ice!
Ma'am, what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children?
Don't open up!
And getting $4 million
Don't
over
open up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in favor?
Away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You're
not welcome here. Shame on you.
Are you in favor of $1.9 million going illegally, fraudulently to this business that has quality?
Now you see, she out there saying, "Don't open up, it's ice." That was just kind of dumb to say,
right?
Because my thing is, why would you be worried about if it's ice or not if you running a legitimate business and you are over here legally?
Exactly.
So why should it matter if it's ICE? ICE ain't coming to deport anybody that's over here the right way.
Mm-hmm. So if, like, I know when I go outside my door, last thing I'm worried about is ICE, because I know I'm a legal citizen. So if you sitting up there talking about don't open up as ICE, whole time they not even ICE. This a YouTube blogger that's just asking questions. But you know, with all that being said, this is a daycare center. You acting like it's a dang on don't open up. Like, what's why wouldn't you want to have more business? Or why wouldn't you want to promote your daycare center if hey, y'all can come in, look, this is what we got going on. We have children in here, they well taken care of. There are no children of nowhere, but it's a daycare center. It doesn't make sense, but you getting hundreds of millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? Billions and all that to fund these daycare centers in this one state. It's crazy.
E-learning center, but can't even spell learning right on the door.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up, it's ICE!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare center.
99 children.
It's supposed to be 99 children, not a child in sight. What?
That's a shame.
And you know what's even crazy, sis? We sitting up here chopping it up about this whole situation, but MSNBC, they ain't talking about it.
They ain't saying nothing about it.
Mainstream media is quiet about this whole situation.
Well, you had CNN talking about it, and you know what? I don't know if you looked at a Black Conservative Perspective today. Shout out to him, because we do look at a lot of his commentary as well. And if you want to get some good, authentic, commentary, he definitely he's definitely an authentic brother that bring a lot of good commentary.
Yeah, Black Conservative Perspective.
Yes. But I was looking at something with him and CNN, and they was making excuses saying that, well, I don't think it's right for them to go and ask these people if their businesses are legitimate when it comes down to these daycare centers, because a lot of these daycare centers are these are these people's livelihoods, and these are their businesses, and like they just really being picked on. And so Black Conservative made a good point of view. He said, well, the sad part is you got a small YouTuber that's not even a real journalist that's doing the job that y'all supposed to be doing at CNN. That's what they are supposed to be doing. But it took this small YouTuber to go out in the community and show the fraud that's going on. That's why you have a lot of them that's not talking about it. Because I'm telling you, the same ones that's not talking about these big mainstream media, it wouldn't surprise me if some of the money tie back to them. You know, this stuff, like, I think it's a really a vast majority of people that are in connection with this whole Somalian, not just in, I told you, Minnesota, Ohio, all these other states.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, like I said, like that guy we just seen right there, and like Stu said, that opened a lot of people's eyes, and he went viral,
He sure did. I seen Caroline Levitt give him a shout out today on Fox News, and about how he has opened up the eyes of a lot of people, and how he went viral just over the weekend by going out doing the work that really and truly a lot of these paid journalists are supposed to be doing. He don't get paid for that, but he got out and he did the due diligence in that community because he was wanting to bring forth to let people know what's really going on.
Absolutely. And he been getting attacked for it. Yeah, this is Fox News, speaking on the situation here with the YouTube blogger Nick Shirley. Once again, he only 23 years old, going out there doing the leg work that a lot of investigators should be doing at this point. But let's get into this clip.
All right, now to an update on one of our biggest stories heading into the new year. The Department of Health and Human Services is cutting off all federal child care payments to Minnesota. This in response to allegations of sweeping fraud. And the White House says there will be consequences.
This is a top priority for the administration. The Department of Justice, as we speak, is continuing to execute search warrants and subpoenas. People will be in handcuffs as a result of the fraud that Governor Walz has allowed to occur for many, many years.
Well, a YouTuber who made a viral video on the scandal was seen squaring off with protesters outside of a daycare center. We have Garrett Tenney. He has more on all of this from Chicago. Good morning, Garrett.
Molly, good morning to you. This is a big move by HHS. It adds to the several other federal agencies that have already paused funding for Minnesota over those concerns of fraud. So now the $185 million a year that HHS provides the state for childcare is on hold. And starting immediately, the agency says the rubber stamping of payments through its.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to bring that down right quick because it's giving me a little trouble. But we can pretty much just see right there $185 million that they just get from the federal government alone. That's not on top of what they charge and how much they take in from what they accumulate on their own. But just from the federal government, and the federal government like, hey, you got to answer some questions before we continue this. We are not going to send you no more federal funds. And how can you blame the federal government after what has been discovered?
That's true.
At the end of the day, one YouTube blogger went out there and went viral and did the leg work that we would expect our government to do. A 23-year-old young man took it upon himself to expose this. That speaks volumes to where we are as a country right now, going into the new year. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah. And the fact too, like you said, like no one was believing this. I think people were just thinking that because you had to eat, because Trump has been on her bumper for a while. What is her name? Ilhan Omar? Omar? Yeah, he been on her bumper for a while. And just to think that she is in our government. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why you had a lot of Somalians, they weren't really probably paying attention or looking into it because she was able to kind of block, some things in Minnesota because of the position that she was, that she held. So they were able to get away with a lot of the fraud, and it was all, they just against the Somalian communities and all this other stuff. And now, this young man, Nick, came along and basically called out all of this, and he was even putting the numbers with the locations on how much these people were bringing in as far as revenue per year with no children. And then they even had a restaurant that they brought in over $260 million where they were saying they were serving over 90 to 100 and something people per day, and come to find out it was only 2 people. These people was doing mass corruption, and they were and then did you see where the judge basically dismissed the case of the man that they brought charges up on, the Somalian guy? He had stole over $7 million. And do you know that rogue judge dismissed his case and let him keep the money?
Wow. I
Sure
didn't even
did.
see that one.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Let him. He dismissed the case and allowed him to keep the money.
Let
Yeah.
one of us do something remotely close to that. You know,
Remotely close to it. I
They
mean,
won't-
you look at Chauncey. They was gambling. At least if they paid, if they won money, they paid, or if they lost money. But these people over here was literally, I mean, stealing left and robbing people blind. And the
robbing
judge
people blind.
dismissed it and allowed him to walk free and not have to pay a dime back.
Crazy. Yeah. And like we said, these people, while people capping for these people, feeling sorry for them, all they gonna do is go back home. They not gonna go to jail.
And I think that's probably why it was so easy for them to be able to do that, because they knew that it would be no consequences behind what they were doing other than just getting deported back home. But my thing is, okay, no, it need to be something put in place. It need to be people in handcuffs. It need to be politicians in handcuffs. It need to be mayors in handcuffs. It need to be people, because you could best believe by the time Doge get done with all the investigations that they're gonna do and how this is tied down to, it's gonna be a lot of people that's going down. This ain't right. And this is something that because I mean, $19 billion, this is just in one state.
Crazy. I want to get off to this with Caroline Levitt basically saying what we saying, people need to be held accountable, because we would be held accountable, right? And we got a piece of that in the last clip that was giving me a little trouble, but let's see what this clip, if this gonna play, because I don't know, Mom, connection acting a little funny because of the weather, but let's see what's up to it.
Welcome back. Right now, Health and Human Services pausing its annual $185 million child care payments to Minnesota because this massive fraud investigation is growing.
But Governor Tim Walz still pointing blame at everyone else, posting, quote, "This is Trump's long game. We've spent years cracking down on fraudsters. It's a serious issue, but this has been his plan all along. He's politicizing the issue to defund programs that help Minnesotans."
You see the deflection though. This is Tim Walz's reaction.
I see the lying
in his state. It obviously lying.
But to say you've been cracking down, how can you cracking down? How in the world did $19 billion get out of hand, but you've been cracking down? But my thing, like 19, that don't even make sense. Like, my thing is, and see, if you let Tim just need to shut up. Because the very thing that Tim ran on with JD Vance, we need to start giving more money into these daycare centers. Bro, that's what you said debating JD Vance. And here we are now, what looked like a couple of $1 billion has been going into the very thing, fraudulent thing that you saying that, we needed to put more money into the daycare centers.
Exactly.
So you ain't been cracking down on that, cracking down $19 billion.
What kind of crackdown is that? And then on top of that, like you said, sis, at the beginning of this video, toward the beginning rather, we played his words verbatim when he said in the vice presidential debate against JD Vance, we need to get more money from the government for these child care incentives. So what? So you could money launder more money into your account for the Somalians? You and the Somalians could go on here and run up a bag at the taxpaying citizens at our expense. That's what you basically saying. But you trying to blame Trump, talking about he's trying to politicize the issue. No, he's shedding light on something that has been going on for over 10 years.
But you know what? We got to keep in mind Tim Walz is the same. That's the same state where all of that stuff what had happened with George Floyd.
Yeah, so
Remember?
was.
It was his state when they was going around vandalizing, and he was allowing a lot of this,
This race baiting going on.
Yep, this race baiting going on. Yep.
The vice president, did he be the main one talking about, oh, it's the white man, but he a white man. That's a talk. The whole race thing is a talking point for the Democratic Party at this point.
That's all they run off of.
That's all they run off of. Even if they white, they scream racism. It don't make sense.
Do. It don't. It don't. But see, that's how they've been able to continue to get people to vote a certain way, because they know half of the country is divided because of that topic. Do you understand what I'm saying? Racism. And so therefore, that's why they've been able to, get in office and get in these certain positions or whatnot, because that's what they run off of. When you take the race, what in the world, if you take that racism out, for they can't run on race anymore, what do they have to stand on? What leg do they really have to stand on? Nothing. Now you got all these people talking about Nicki Minaj, okay? And what I'm saying, we're gonna go back to the hypocrisy with race. Okay, now it's no problem with the deportation. A lot of the people, like we talked about, they have a problem with deportation. They don't bother nobody. Leave them alone. But the minute Nicki Minaj disagree, because she's a Republican and she disagree, it's now a petition going around to deport her. Do you see what I'm saying?
They got 70,000 signatures to deport Nicki Minaj.
That's all. I think it's gonna take a bit more than that. Not only that, she's a naturalized citizen now. They can't deport her.
But it just exposes how ridiculous minded, because even if they didn't sign it, they should be like, y'all goofy at this point. Ain't nobody saying, like, ain't nobody on the left shutting that down, at least. Y'all should be encouraging y'all base to be like, man, sit that out. That's a fight y'all shouldn't be trying to fight. Trying to get Nicki Minaj, but they quiet on it. And I know, because I talk to people that's on the left, that's like, oh, that's not an issue. Why aren't y'all going against that, though? At least speak against it. At least say, like, nah, that we not on that, man. Stop that. But see, on the right, if we disagree with Trump or whoever, we don't have a problem voicing our disagreement. But they want to say that we a cult. But we'll openly disagree with Trump if he wrong, if he right. You know what I'm saying? We'll voice our opinion and still support him in the end. We don't see, that's the difference between a cult and some in people that think it's a cult. People that are able to openly agree to disagree, that's not a cult. That's a healthy conversation. You know what I'm saying?
It's healthy dialogue. You understand?
Exactly.
That's it. And not only that, too, even down to some things that we may not agree with President Trump, we don't just throw him away because it's one thing we don't agree with him on. You understand? It's just like, okay, you may not agree with him, but are you really gonna overlook all the things that this man have done? Are you really gonna overlook the fact that if it wasn't for him in a lot of these states, where you as a parent, you wouldn't even have parental rights? Okay, are you really gonna overlook the fact that your child, like, it's just the things like that? So it may be one thing that people disagree with when it comes down to him, and they just be ready to throw him away. Well,
that's natural. That's real. If two people agree on every single thing, somebody lying.
That's it. That's true.
Because two people ain't going to agree on everything.
Cause even now, to me and you, we have this. We have our we have our dialogue, and sometimes we don't agree on a lot of stuff.
Me and sis, and I want y'all to be clear, we agree on a majority of everything, But we do disagree on certain things here and there.
We
You know what I'm saying?
disagree. Yeah, and you know what? When we disagree. We can respectfully disagree, and we also try to look at it from a perspective to say, you know, okay, well, I can understand that, but I see where you're coming from. You understand what I'm saying? Like I can respect how you feel. It ain't where I got to fall out with you because I disagree with you, or you disagree with me, or you know what I'm saying, or we cut ties and all this other old stuff, you know. No, it's literally it's okay to disagree and literally be open, because that goes to show that you're open-minded. You understand what I'm saying? And you can be open-minded enough to say, you know what? Well, wait, let me see why he look at it, or let me see why she look at it from this perspective, or let me see how, you know, and that's just it. But you know, it's just for now, the stuff that's going on now, it's hard for anybody. If you agree with children being castrated, something is wrong with you. Just because, and a lot of times people don't agree with it, they just don't like Trump.
That's
That's
it.
it. It ain't that. A lot of people that literally vote have traditional thinking. Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of people, whether they know it or not, they literally have traditional values. They think traditionally. They do. But because of how the media have painted Trump in such a bad way, he's a fascist, he's a this, he's that, people have literally been brainwashed enough to think that. So it doesn't matter what he does, they are still going to find something negative to say about him. You know?
Exactly.
And those type of people, that's a heart issue at that point. And I've
At
said
that
that
point,
before.
you know, you got to check your heart.
You need to check your heart. That's it.
That's it. And it ain't nothing nobody can tell you on a political scale. Nothing nobody can say to you, you know, on a debate or nothing. That's just something you got to dig within yourself to find why you so mad at this man for. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a hard issue. But let's continue. You know, Tim Walz.
Okay.
Talk about the long game. Man, this is crazy. Dude, but take accountability for your state. You the governor, right?
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joining us now. Caroline, thank you for being here. Happy New Year's Eve. Let's jump in right now with Governor Walz blasting President Trump and the Trump administration, saying that this is all about politicizing this massive fraud that keeps growing that we are learning about. You see, that is what you saw from Governor Walz, saying this is Trump's long game. We've spent years cracking down on fraudsters. It's a serious issue, but this has been his plan all along. Your reaction?
Governor Walz is completely incompetent. He always has been, and President Trump has long called him out for his incompetence and his poor leadership in the great state of Minnesota. I want to commend Nick Shirley for his incredible video in Real Journalism that went viral this past week. He epitomizes what new media looks like, and that's exactly why we at the White House, under President Trump's direction, have embraced new media journalists like Nick Shirley. We've welcomed them in to the White House press pool. We invited Nick Shirley.
That was so dope that they, you know, shout out that young man for putting in the work, putting in the leg work. They invited him to the White House. That's dope. That's super. I really salute the Trump administration for giving independent content creators the visibility that they deserve. You know,
and you know what? Not only Nick Shirley, but look how they invited Chicago Flips Red. You know, just even down to them. You know, because they were able to expose a lot of the corruption when they go down there to those meetings and how. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely glad that he did get an invite to the White House because he deserved that.
Yeah, like you just said, since you brought up a great point with Chicago Flips Red, with Danny C, Zoe, you know, Jessica Jackson, you know, the whole crew out here in Chicago that was exposing the corruption with Governor Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson, Dumb and Dumber, you know, as they raised the black and brown people property taxes to upwards of over 100% in most places. But the white communities of Chicago only saw a 5% raise in their property tax.
But you know why though? Because a lot of the black people, they continue to vote one way. They don't they don't vote when it comes down to voting for like on taxes and different things of that nature. So that's where the black community got to get more involved. Do you understand? Because they sit there and allow these things to go through the cracks, slip through the cracks. Those white people over in the suburbs, they vote. Okay, they vote against that. They vote you have the right to determine how your taxes or how they, how your taxes increase and whether they increase or decrease. They choose to be active. Black people choose, to continue with the same rhetoric and put people like Brandon Johnson and Mayor Lightfoot in office, and they don't think about you understand the taxes. And then they turn around and then they'll put those illegals in the black community, okay? Make you take care of them, take your resources away from you, okay? And meanwhile, they increasing your taxes 200 to 300% almost, a lot of them, the 257% I saw, where you don't have, they're forcing you out of your communities now. You understand? So that's what black people, instead of them so busy about race baiting and all, they need to get more involved on the state level and voting for these things that are detrimental to the communities. They sit there and allow this and then get mad.
And get mad. How can you get mad when you co-signed it?
You co-signed it.
Because at the end of the day, what's going on in Chicago is a result of identity politics, and constantly voting for the Democratic Party, blue no matter who.
Yeah.
Because Brandon Johnson, Mayor Larry Lightfoot, okay, they individuals, but it's the whole infrastructure.
It's the whole infrastructure. But what they do is they use the black faces. You understand? Because of it goes back to the identity politics. It's blackface. We're going to vote. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're going to vote because of this particular person. Even though when you look at the communities, what have they done for them?
Nothing.
What type of resources have they provided? You understand? What have they did to pour back into the communities? What they do is take your money, okay, your resources, and they give them to people that are not legally a legal citizen here. They're taking away and then forcing you out of your communities and putting them in there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how the people of Chicago, but again, they're so busy. Like, I don't know if it's some type of, I honestly don't know.
It's some type of psychological hold that the Democratic Party got.
Yes.
over.
I seen one lady there. Property taxes was $100,000. How do you expect that lady to come up with and this is per year, okay? How do you expect her to be able to pay $100,000 in property taxes? That I'm sure that's going to be due sometime. And then if you don't pay it, then there's an increase or you penalize or you have to pay, they give you so much time to pay it. So then what happened? They take it away from you, okay? Because you're going to get so far. And then before you know it, you losing it. You losing your property. So that's where a lot of people in Chicago, why they sitting up there so worried about and fighting against Chicago Flip Red, because y'all sitting up there thinking that these ladies are, they just coons and they this and they that. No, they're trying to really save your community. They're trying to enlighten you on what's really going on.
Right. And these same people that talk about local politics are more important than federal. They are.
They are much more important than anything with Donald Trump.
Donald Trump should be the least of your concern.
Donald Trump should be the least of your concern. Your governor is the one that is the president of your state.
Governor Pritzker, Dumb and Dumber.
That's it. Him and Brandon Johnson. So I don't understand how even now the people in Chicago, how they not furious to know that this type of stuff is really going on. And that's why you got when Chicago Flips Red asked for an audit, for Doge to come there and audit, they didn't want that. Trump even said, okay, you know what? We'll stop the funding until, you know what I'm saying? We're going to stop the funding until y'all allow us to have access, because really and truly what Trump is doing is what every president should do. That's what they were supposed to be doing. They were supposed to be doing audits on these states. And they wasn't doing it. So then you got Trump to come in and doing it, and now you got these rogue judges that's saying, "Oh no, they blocking that, so those can't come in and do the job that they supposed to do."
But what they do, they distract us with what? Talking points of racism and all of it, tax the rich, and have people mad at billionaires and stuff like that. When these same billionaires are the ones that create opportunity for you to have occupations. They carry majority of the tax burden, so you don't have to carry it. What did Brandon Johnson do? And this is the year recap, and I've been heavily on Brandon Johnson tail.
Yes, you have.
To try to expose it, but his policy is to tax the rich, which is not a conducive policy, because what that does is it pushes out the people that carry majority of the tax burden and the people that provide the resources. So if you try to tax, like Brandon Johnson has the head tax bill, where every business that has more than 100 employees, they got to pay an additional $21 a month each employee. That sounds very innocent, but if you calculate that funds over a year, if you got 3,000 employees, you talking about several millions of dollars in taxes. So what happens is these businesses like McDonald's, a lot of them have left, a lot of Jewel, Osco's, a lot of different places leave the city and go to other neighboring states. In that tax burden, they may have been paying $235 million in taxes. It falls on the citizens. So those are the people that wondering why they tax bill is going up 100%, because they pushed out the rich. Don't tax the rich. The thing that you're supposed to do is cut spending, right?
Yep.
That's how you eliminate the burden. And that's what those auditors came in and told Brandon Johnson, this is how you can avoid raising people taxes, and how you can also, eliminate the $1 billion debt. Chicago is at over a $1 billion deficit. This is how we can cut these spending, cut this, cut that. Brandon Johnson told those auditors, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to add more taxes instead. He told the professional auditors, I'm not going to do the tax cuts that you suggested. And he chose to add more taxes to the citizens of Chicago.
And see, that's what citizens of Chicago should be furious, because what he's telling you is, I'm forcing you to move out of your property because I'm going to raise your taxes so high to where you cannot afford it. Whereas you have somebody to come in there with a solution to the problem, so people could stay in their properties and do whatever they need to do to stay homeowners and not lose their property. And he's telling them no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so bad to where you got the Chicago Bears trying to leave. I mean, come on. And you got literally the Chicago Bears that are saying, no, we'll just go to Indiana.
The Chicago Bears having the best season they done had since the 1980s, and they ready to leave.
The best season since the 80s. And they saying that they want to leave. If ain't something wrong with that picture there.
If that ain't a sign and symbol for the conscious mind, I don't know what is.
They say bump the Chicago. We Indiana Bears. You know, that's a shame. Leave that Chicago where it said we leaving Chicago and we going to Indiana.
That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
It is.
The Chicago Bears saying they ready to go to Northwest Indiana. They're gonna be the Gary Bears.
That good gracious alive.
They're gonna be the Gary Bears because they can't balance the budget enough to secure the Chicago Bears. They're gonna be the Gary Bears.
Yeah. But I told you, I said what they're doing is they trying to raise these taxes so high in certain areas. Mind you, they want Chicago to be little Venezuela, okay? Certain areas, okay, they branch it off, okay? You got the area over here, the suburbs, where these people are in their own area. Okay, well, over here, we're gonna raise their taxes so high today, they're forced to move. So once they're forced to move, this will be little Venezuela. It'll be like their own little state. Their own little country. Okay, I told you the same thing when it came down to is it New York? New York. The same thing with them. They're trying to force people out.
Yeah. It's just gentrification. What they call gentrification, where they force the population out so they can implement another population for their agenda. And
yeah,
it's happening right in front of their eyes, but they so mad at they got these people so concentrated on Trump and racism, which is all false narratives at the end of the day. That man can care less about your race. He's not thinking about that. But it's so embedded in the DNA of these false narratives in the people, where they think that they have to be against anything that Trump does. And it's sad. It's really sad. What the media did is sad.
It is sad. And not only that too, it's just sad the fact that if you consider yourself a Republican, or whatever the case may be, you looked at as a coon, or you looked at as this, I think even if Trump wasn't in office, I think Trump just get the brisk of it because they have just painted him in such a way. But it's always been that way, where, if someone is a Republican, because I remember back with, Ben Carson, I didn't even know this man. But the only thing I heard was the fact that, he's a Republican, he's a bootlicker, you understand what I'm saying? Not really knowing a lot about, because you just over here on this side. And I think, with Trump, that's what people fail to realize, that he is not a Republican or a Democrat. I think Trump has his own movement, which is the mega movement, which is he's separating himself from either side, but he runs on one side because his traditional thinking and values, Trump is pro-life, okay? He doesn't have a problem with, gay people, but he do believe that a man should marry a woman and a woman should marry a man. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then, just off of his beliefs, he ran on one, as far as one particular party. But just as well as you got snakes on the Democratic side, we already know them, but they're you know what I'm saying? He have to fight against his own party. Yeah,
and that's where we understand the wings of the same bird. We understand the wings of the same bird is the Democrats and the Republicans, wings of the same bird. We see that in Congress. Trump could get a lot more done if it wasn't for the involvement of Congress having to be involved. And a lot of that is, it could be if the Republicans were really on Trump's side, they would get rid of the filibuster.
That's it.
So Trump can just do his thing, but
he can do his thing
to do it in Congress.
And I kept saying, it don't matter, because even if he get rid of that filibuster, they gonna do it if they get in office. Let him get rid of the filibuster. But I told you, it's a lot of them that's in bed with the other parties too. They are.
They are.
And they are really showing themselves. They're really showing them true colors when it come down to voting on certain things. You look at that governor in Indiana. Okay, so why would you not, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to the gerrymandering, you know, because that's a few extra seats that they'll be able to pick up. And that's a red state, you know.
Yeah.
See, a lot of these people are really showing their true colors and what side they really on, because a lot of them are in bed with this corruption too. How much you want to bet? They are.
They are. A lot of them Republicans, they involved. So when we talk about what Trump doing, is totally like Trump. MAGA is an independent political party, but is using the Republican platform.
Thank you.
That's basically, you know, what it is. Because if you ran independent, you wouldn't, you know, get any traction.
That's it. He wouldn't have won if he ran independent. Because guess what? The minds of people and how people vote is either red or blue. That's it. You look at the mass majority of people, you probably got a candidate that run independent, they might get 5%, 8% is the high, you know what I'm saying? So Trump had to do the unthinkable, and he ran as a Republican. Because let me tell you, ain't no way Trump would have got it. Ain't no way he would have been able to run as a Democrat with what if the stuff that he doing now. He couldn't have.
Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the Somalis is trying to get up out of here. They got suitcases full of money. I want to pull up Stephen Gardner. Shout out to Stephen Gardner. You sent me this this video, sis, and you know, I know we had 2 hours, you know, and some change now.
Yeah.
But I thought this was good to go ahead and kind of do a reaction to his commentary here about the Somalians saying, "Hey, we getting figured out. It's time for us to bounce."
I just finished the most incredible interview. Did you know that the airport has busted many Somalians leaving the country or heading to Washington, D.C. with suitcases full of cash? We're also going to find out that the fraud in Minnesota has been known by Tim Walz for almost a decade, and he turned a blind eye. Today, I interview Speaker Lisa Demuth of the House of Representatives in Minnesota. She's going to blow your mind. Plus, I'm going to expose that the daycare fraud is tiny compared to the big fraud that's really going on. Make sure to like and subscribe and enjoy. To help me go through this, I have Speaker Lisa Demuth from Minnesota. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me.
I thought that was like very instrumental to know that this lady Lisa is from Minnesota. You know, that's interesting to see what she has to say.
Hello, Stephen. Thank you for having this conversation with us.
Yeah, this is a big one. I want to get your reaction. Last time you and I were on, you know, there was bad press about Governor Tim Walz. Now, most of America has realized just how bad the fraud has become in your home state. But I'm just curious, as a taxpayer and Speaker of the House for Minnesota, what was your reaction to this Nick Shirley video that now has over 140 million views of dozens and dozens of daycare facilities in Minnesota with little to no children receiving millions of dollars each. What was your reaction to that?
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. First, go to Riverside.
The fraud here in Minnesota, when I saw that viral video now, it's some of those things that we have known all along, Stephen. So I was grateful that the word was getting out. This is something that House Republicans have been sounding the alarm on for years. We could never get those internal controls. We couldn't get the attention of the governor and other Democratic leaders to help put some safeguards in place. And the fact that it is blown up, and now the nation is watching this, we are finally getting the action that is so desperately needed here in the state.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, sometimes the public just has to become aware of it, and then they go, crap, we can't hide this anymore. And I think that's what's going on. I think Tim Walz might be in a lot of trouble. We'll see what comes out of that. But let me show you and the audience a video. This is Carolyn Levitt, the White House spokeswoman, talking about what she believes is going to happen when it comes to arrests, continual investigations, and then we'll react to that together. Let me show this to you now.
Governor Walz is completely incompetent. He always has been, and President Trump has long called him out for his incompetence and his poor leadership in the great state of Minnesota. I want to commend Nick Shirley for his incredible video in Real Journalism that went viral this past week. He epitomizes what new media looks like, and that's exactly why we at the White House, under President Trump's direction, have embraced new media journalists like Nick Shirley. We've welcomed them in to the White House press pool. We invited Nick Shirley to brief the President of the United States at an Antifa roundtable earlier this year. And this fraud in Governor Walz's state in Minnesota is something the Trump administration has been working on since day one. And since Nick Shirley's journalism really brought this issue further to light, we have surged resources across the board to the state. So I want your audience to understand this is a top priority for the administration. The Department of Justice, as we speak, is continuing to execute search warrants and subpoenas. People will be in handcuffs as a result of the fraud that Governor Walz has allowed to occur for many, many years. The Department of Homeland Security is conducting door-to-door investigations on the ground at potential fraud sites. And they're also, of course, conducting continued deportations of illegal aliens in Minnesota's communities. We're also not afraid to use denaturalization. That's a tool at the president and the Secretary of State's disposal, and it's one this administration has previously used before. I know the Health and Human Services Department has also announced we are cutting off all child care funding to the state of Minnesota until we get to the bottom of this fraud. The Department of Labor is investigating their unemployment insurance program. The Department of USDA Agriculture, Secretary Rollins, weeks ago sent a letter to Governor Walz demanding he turn over every single name of SNAP recipients on the books in Minnesota. And the Minnesota Attorney General actually sued the Trump administration for that. What are they hiding?
All right. What are they hiding? Let me ask you this. She talks about arrests, deportation, removing the illegals. Speaker Demuth, is there any way that Governor Tim Walz was not aware of this fraud?
I don't know if Governor Walz was unaware, but either way, he is the governor of the state. He's the CEO when you think of a business. And so he has either protected or promoted the fraud in this state. If he claims that he wasn't aware of it going on, then that is a dereliction of duty where he has focused other places and has not focused on what was happening right here in the state. He has signed every bill that came across his desk, including the spending of an $18 billion surplus, raising our taxes and fees another $10 billion. That was in the last legislative session. And so if he says that he wasn't aware of the extent of fraud, then he missed the mark.
Okay.
Damn. I mean, we don't really have to go too much further than that. He signed every piece of legislation that related to these people getting money for the past however years he's been in office. And
I'm trying to figure out how many of these children, like, what was $19 billion in kids? Like, I'm just sitting up here thinking to myself when they saying they had 50 kids here for, like, how? Like, I don't even, that don't even make, like, even down to just that. I would expect probably over a 4-year span, maybe 10 million. Do you understand? Maybe over a span of even down to all of those daycares as for that. But when we talk about $19 billion, okay, I don't understand that. Because even if we take and say 10 billion of it was into daycares, the other 8 was just other fraudulent and just that number alone, even $1 billion.
it's an egregious amount of money for one state.
It is.
It is. And for you to be the governor, and this, like this lady said, every piece of legislation that came across your desk for these quote unquote daycare centers that ain't no children at, but you know, millions of dollars at a time are coming through from the federal government. Billions are being laundered, and we see where through investigations that these monies are being transferred to Somalia, to terrorist groups that we ain't even talk about that. I'm just saying, like this, I mean, people, Pam Bondi got her work cut up for her. I mean,
she really do.
She don't even know where to start.
She don't even know where to start.
There's so many other things going on with such a short amount of time to really. I mean, this would take years of investigating to really get to the bottom of. But
and mind you, this investigation, like you said, it'll take years to investigate. But also, we have to keep in mind, like, the years of investigation, along with every day, is something new. It's other things that are just piling up on Pam and the administration, that they having to, they only have a certain amount of time to get a lot of things done. Get a certain amount of things done. So yeah, this is going to take some time, because you got to have your cross your I's and dot your T's when you even bring it up. These type of you get the investigating and doing these types of things, because these are politicians. So there's certain laws and different things when it pertains to them as well, that they got to probably go through loopholes and all this stuff. So this is gonna take some time. It is.
It is. Yeah, it's gonna take a little bit. Hey, people got to be patient. They only been in office not even a year yet. So this is deep. This is bottom of the ocean deep.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. They're going to have to do a deeper investigation, and a lot of this is hitting on the Somali community. I believe that as this unravels around the country, we're going to find it's more than that. But I mean, you've got all these memes where you've got Governor Tim Walz like basically turning Minnesota over to Somalia, admitting that they can't win elections without Somalians. We're now finding out that money was going from the government to Somalia back to certain government leaders over into Washington, D.C. I know you are running for governor.
You know what?
Hold it right there. Hold it. Black people ought to be furious.
I'm telling you.
We've been voting for free for years. We didn't get a doggone thing. And you mean to tell me?
Sis, you right there where I'm at with it. I'm like, man, these Somalians did everything we supposed to did. We supposed to leverage our vote to encourage these politicians to do our agenda.
I mean, think about $19 billion in one state. People should be outraged. Like, you've been getting up there casting your vote for free. Cause they just know they could just depend, just walk out, just pass. I mean, and they come and demand and get, I mean, free housing. You get to come and just steal from the American people. You get to do whatever you want to do in one small state, and just for us to get the vote to put you in office. People ought to be, man. I'm
telling you, they doing what Malcolm X said Black Americans supposed to did centuries ago. These Somalians are doing what we never got on. See, these Somalians, they stick together.
They sure do.
This exposes the inconsistency in Black America. If we would have stuck together from day one, we could have got our own politicians in order, in power to do our bidding a long time ago. If we would have did the same thing that these Somalians doing, but for the good, you know, if we would have but we too busy calling each other coons, and we too busy mad at each other about our political beliefs where we can't come together enough. These Somalians came over here and did a number on the American.
They did a number.
They did ran up a bag.
I mean, they ran up a healthy bag too. They ran up a healthy bag.
And what they do, they delineated, immediately said, we not Black. When they came over here, they said we not them. They said we not like y'all. But when they get in trouble, when Trump on their bumper, now they Black again.
They Black Somalian. Now they want Black people to stand up and you know, help them go against the racism and all this other bull crap.
Right.
Yeah.
They want us to fall for the, you know, finesse, you know. But
when y'all done robbed us blind.
After you done robbed us blind, now you Black again after Trump on your bumper. Man, ain't nobody trying to hear that.
You ain't lying.
Ain't nobody trying to hear none of that, because you wasn't talking about you was Black when you was getting all them billions of dollars. We ain't see none of that.
Well, you weren't getting no Black folks no money, so we don't want to hear it. You weren't sharing the bag when you were running it up.
Right, we sit over Black folks in America trying to figure out how we gonna file our tax, how we gonna pay our tax.
Trying to see how we trying to see who can fold their arm the tightest and get us the more money back.
Right, and you stealing the taxes.
Hey, we trying to see who can, who fold their arms the tightest. Oh, she fold her arms the tightest. She probably get me back.
With Somalians over here running it up.
They over there running up a bag. And we over here trying to see, can she get us an extra 500 back? Because she look like she can, you know, she look like she can put another child up there or something. You know, or something. You know.
And y'all trying to get an extra 5,000. Y'all done got an extra 5 billion.
Y'all done got an extra 5 billion. And we got 5,000 and still owe that back in a credit card, you know, or loans.
Elon Omar in Congress, she ain't even, you know, she ain't even supposed to be in the country as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and she in our government. I told you, that's why that old tater head Tim, they put him in that position they picked him because I guarantee you they were expecting to have ain't no telling, she might have been the next governor for Minnesota.
Yep. She was in line for that. We see the play.
Yeah, we could see it just as plain now. They picked. That's why I say this fraud go beyond Tim Walz. It go way. They out of all the 50 states. You understand? They picked him as a VP. Him.
Wonder why.
I wonder why.
What do you plan to do if you win to continue to clean up and expose all of this fraud?
I would be, as governor of Minnesota, putting in the internal controls within every program and every agency to make sure that dollars were not going out in fraud. Currently, Governor Walz has not fired a single commissioner. There are 28 known scandals of fraud in his time as governor in 7 years. He's not fired anyone. So I would be both choosing competent commissioners and leaders of the agencies and then holding them accountable. Tax dollars that go out in fraud mean those dollars do not get to the people that desperately need it. We are a high taxed state. And so for families that are struggling just to make ends meet, to then find out that their dollars have been gone to fraud and they will not be coming back, that is not the way that you respect or treat the taxpayers of the state. It's not how a state needs to be led. And that is part of the reason why I'm running for governor.
Yeah. A trending thing over on X right now is this idea of why are we paying taxes if the government's going to allow those to be robbed or abused or sent to terrorism? And now you've got this call for don't pay your taxes, don't pay your tax. I don't think it will actually take off because the IRS is the best collection agency in the world. But it does beg the question, like, is government doing enough?
You know what? I'm listening at them and they saying that he's incompetent. I'm not, he's smart. He's very smart.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in that position for a reason. He's not incompetent. Okay? We're not going to give him a pass of incompetent. He's just a fraud.
He's just a fraud.
He's a fraud. A person that's incompetent, they get in a position and they don't know what they're doing. We're not going to give him that a pass. Okay? He's a governor. Okay, no governor should be in a position that is incompetent. Okay, I can see if he just don't know what's going on. He just don't know what's going on in his state. There's not any fraud, but there's money. I would say just not in connection to fraud. Maybe like you put more money over here, or you doing more money here, or, with this or that, or but it's not lump sums of money or billions of dollars. No, he has been laundering money. That's what it is. Him and others have been doing this, and others from different states, other governors, judges, all of these people, because I'm not going to sit up here and give that man a pass to say that he's incompetent as if, oh, well, he was just an incompetent mayor that didn't know governor. No, he's a fraud, just like a lot of the rest of them. But carry on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, sis. I went on ahead and just took it down because we almost at 2
Yeah, we had about 2
hours.
hours and 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we did, enough. And it's been the first time we went live in like 6 months. So yeah. I'm very appreciative that we was able to do this live to wrap it up for the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? For our platform, Voices for the Voiceless. A lot of people, I imagine, is out kicking it, for the new year. And they'll catch the playback.
Yeah, but, that's true.
Yeah, I really look at it in closing on this situation. It's like, all of this that we've been fighting for really comes to this tipping point as we close out 2025. We elected President Donald Trump to put American people, American citizens, American taxpayers first as a country. And what we are seeing with this corruption now is that we haven't been we actually been pushed to the back, for other groups of, and whether you want to talk about them being from Somalia, Venezuela, wherever they come from, they have been put in and prioritized over American citizens, especially taxpaying citizens that contribute to this system. So I think that, what we're dealing with now with Tim Walz, which very much could have been our vice president.
Mm-hmm.
We've dodged a super atomic bomb, not a bullet, but an atomic bomb, because this corruption would have been bust wide open and the American taxpayer would have been, wouldn't have a chance You know, it was like, why are we paying taxes? You know, and then it would, I think it would have resulted into anarchy. You know, because people ain't finna keep dealing with that. You know what I'm saying?
Not only that, too, we'd have been in, I know, Tyler, how many wars. I know, Taylor, how many children that we would have been, burying, or parents having to send their children to just stupid wars that they create because these people, a lot of them are warmongers. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they were already getting to the place where they were trying to draft so many young 16, 17-year-olds, off the war. That was the plan. So we would have probably been in all types of wars and ain't no telling what else. A lot of us, we thinking now that people are the homeless, that we're looking at the homeless rate and people that are home. There's no telling. I probably would have been put out my own home. You understand? But with the rate that this was going and how they are, we're using Chicago and how they were increasing the taxes and pushing people out of their houses and communities to where like that literally probably would have been going on in every state. So it's just that. And, it's sad, but I know, we've been at this for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. But what I was going to say, like in closing for me is that, for those that go back and you didn't catch this and you watch the replay, get involved in your local politics. Get involved locally, because your governor is the stuff that we're seeing now is falling back on the governors that people continue to put in office. And I'm gonna also leave this in closing with Chicago. Now Trump has done his part with pardoning and commuting Larry Hoover's sentence. Now it's up to your governor, Pritzker, to give this man a pardon on a state level. That's another thing. So, we got to really we'll be doing more lives, but just moving forward, people have got to start getting involved locally. Locally is way more important than President Donald Trump will ever be. Because if you want to cut down the fraud and all this and know who you putting in office, when you go to cast your vote blindly, do you understand what I'm saying? Not realizing and doing any research on these governors or mayors, even down to the chief of police. All of these people, judges, we just vote, but you got to start getting it more involved and literally stop thinking on a surface level.
Right.
And that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Shout out to Queen Nisi Mo. She just commented. What else, sis? She say, hello, family in chat. Tim was in that position. Trump first term, Tim and Trump was okay during his first term. I'm guessing that's what she was saying. With Trump probably wasn't aware a lot of this stuff that was probably going on to this extent. You got to think about it. Trump first term, this started back with Tim back in 2014, they saying. With Minnesota. Trump first term, he got in 2015. We're not able to see all of the data in retrospect that we have now to really compare and contrast. You know what I'm saying? To what level of corruption they have actually done since then compared to what they started out back then. They started in 2014. Trump came in 2016. It's been a decade now. It's a lot that has transpired. And this guy was almost our vice president with Kamala Harris as the president. Someone that left the border wide open. And then someone that's in Minnesota just letting Somalians. So you got Venezuelans, Somalians. We got a whole triple, invasion going on several different levels on the American taxpaying citizen. So I
from
can't
different countries. It ain't just them. You got people from Africa. It's a lot of these different scammers that's over here. It's just the Somalian community that is really getting the brick of it because we're seeing it. But just imagine when they start uncovering in all these other different states, you know?
Yeah, and if Trump wouldn't have gotten office, we wouldn't be privy to this information. You know, they would have kept it hidden, you know. But, you know, that be that as it may, man, you know, Happy New Year, everybody. This is our yearly wrap-up, final live show of 2025. The fraud of Minnesota. We're going to stay on top of it. Happy New Year, everybody. You know, Voices for the Voiceless. We love y'all. It's been a tremendous year. And before I get up out of here, you know, we did launch our independent clothing line, online online clothing line apparel called Voices Apparel. And you see it going past the screen. And it has the link there to, you know, check out the apparel line, and I'll drop it in the comment section. But also, man, definitely go and support us. And it's quality apparel, you know. So
yeah.
Let me share this
support.
so you can look at it. We got the link going on the screen as well. But let me bring this up here before we get out of here. But this right here, this is a sticker. You know, it has the logo for Voices for the Voiceless. We got shirts, hoodies. You know, this is one of my albums, Free Alliance. We got that on hoodies. You know, that's available. You know, on all type of sites and things of that nature, as far as you can listen to the music. And also, let's go to Explore. So when you go to Explore, you see everything. That's what I meant to tell you, sis. You go to Explore and we can look. We got cups, coffee mugs, you know. So,
and definitely some nice different colors with our sweaters as well. I'm gonna get that orange sweater because it's a pretty nice color. So yeah, you can support, and the quality is really good. So, you know, support. The prices are reasonable, you know, with good quality. So yeah.
This the one of the hoodies that one of my favorites here. You know, Chicago Midday Skyline navy blue. Let me see. I want to go to that orange one. I really like that one. But yeah, support the channel. It give us more opportunity to bring more content to you. And this hoodie right here is called.
Yeah. That's my color there. So I'm definitely gonna get that because it's a nice color. You know, you can wear, you know, different, change up, you know, different as far as your pants, sweatpants, whatnot. But that's some really cold sweater there. So if you guys, you know, you want to go and support, please support us. We definitely appreciate it. We got the little handbag there, you know.
Like I said,
travel bag.
Yeah, and the link is going across the screen at the bottom to go, you know, and we got the like coffee mugs for y'all, like the coffee mugs. This one right here is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The Midday Chicago edition with the skyline on there, you know.
Yeah, that's nice though.
Yeah. So we got some pretty dope stuff. You know, I placed my first order, you know what I'm saying? And so we're gonna be, you know, I know sister gonna order her order, you know, and we're gonna come and show y'all pictures of the merchandise that, you know, support the channel, you know what I'm saying? We're going into the new year, proud of that. And man, it's been a ball. I had a great time. The yearly wrap up, it's been dope. You know, we 2 hours and 40 minutes in almost. Hey, peace of blessings, everybody. Sis, you got anything you want to say on the way out?
No, I just appreciate the support that y'all have given us throughout the year, even though, it's been about 6 months since we did a live, but I'm just grateful to God that we're able to, wrap up the end of the year with our, last live, and the Lord's willing, we'll have, more commentary coming next year. And I just pray everybody be safe, enjoy your night, and we hope to see you guys soon.
Absolutely.
On another live.
Most definitely. Peace of blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor. I'm here with my sis Mika, Blessed, aka Blessed Girl, and we're gonna go get up out of here, man. Enjoy and be safe on the holiday. You know what I'm saying? And peace of blessings, everybody. We out. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for